Happy morning, everyday math. Please turn to page 356 in your math journal. We're going to be working on a few problems together today, but as always, before we begin, here is today's joke. And again, I may be running out of jokes. We've been doing this for a while, so I may be repeating. I don't know if I said this one, but here it goes. What do clouds wear under their shorts? Thunderpants. Thunderpants. That is correct. 356. This is what the page should look like. Okay, I'm hoping to keep this kind of brief. Try to show you the way to do this, way to solve the problem. And what we're looking at is exactly what this title says, using formulas to solve problems. So some formulas that we've seen so far would be, we've seen different volume formulas. So if you remember 4/3 pi r cubed, do you remember what the volume we're measuring? And this would be the volume of a sphere. And what helps me remember, you're not going to be required to memorize these, but I've just been writing it so much I remember is whenever you see pi, you're always dealing with something that has a circle. So like the area of a circle is pi r squared, or the circumference is 2 pi r. Or sorry, that should be radius little r. Let's see if I can erase. No. Did I click the wrong thing? There we go. Again, Smartboard's kind of being goofy. Oh, poop. Let's see if I can get rid of that. Delete. How do I delete? Here we go. Okay. So again, using formulas. So we're going to see some new formulas here. And the one that we're first looking at is how are we going to change our Fahrenheit, degrees Fahrenheit to, Celsius to Fahrenheit. So here is the formula. It says F equals 1.8 C plus 32. Alright, and it says use the formula to convert 30 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So right here we have two unknowns. We don't know Fahrenheit and we don't know Celsius. But here we've been given a Celsius degree. So we can plug in what we know. We know 30 degrees Celsius, so we're trying to find F. So F is going to stay there, but I'm going to do 1.8 times 30 plus 32. Okay, so when I solve that, F is going to equal 86. And it should be 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, that's when you do 1.8 times 30 and add 32. You get 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so again, we could use this the other way. What if they give us Fahrenheit? Well, then we plug it in. So our next one says 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to do 50 equals 1.8 C plus 32. So now we're trying to solve for C, and this is where algebra comes in. We need to get C all by itself. So the first thing we do is the opposite. We subtract 32 from each side, and then we get, that would be 18 equals 1.8C, and we divide both sides by 1.8 because multiplication is happening between 1.8 and C, and I know that it's going to be 10 degrees Celsius. Okay? So look at the formulas that you're given. For example, number 1, here is the formula that you use. Make sure you follow the instructions of what they give you. Do they give you W or do they give you A? And which one are you trying to solve? And then making sure that you do correct algebra work. If you're finding this a challenge, please raise your hand and let me know, and I'll come and help you. But these are going to be a little bit more challenging. But again, the important thing is to make sure that you are following the formula that they give you. Alright, so you can work on those other problems, but I want to do an example from this page. So again, we're solving a problem. So I'm going to do number 1, start out number 1 with you. So it says, solve each problem. You may need to look up formulas in your student reference book. Use substitution to check your answers. So find the volume of the desk drawer shown at the right. It says the volume is this. It says 1,365 inches cubed. Find the depth of the drawer. Depth. So think about what our drawer, what kind of shape it is. So first thing is we're trying to find volume. So you're going to put V equals. And we need to create our formula. V equals. I'm going to do it over on the right side because I have more space. So volume of a rectangle. If you remember, the volume of a rectangle is length times width times height. Now here, they're using a different term. See how they're using depth? Well, with a drawer goes in deep. So we can assign D one of these variables, and we can choose whichever one we want because we're dealing with multiplication, and so we can substitute in what we know. So now let's write in what we want to substitute. So I'm going to say that this would be your 10 inches would be your width, and 6.5 inches is the height. So I'm going to use depth instead of length. So I'm going to say D times W times H. And that's what I would put in right here is for formula. Is that now I have my formula. So now I'm going to substitute. I'm going to place in numbers that I know. So they gave me the volume. It is 1,365. And we don't know the depth, so that's still unknown. But we do know the width. The width is 10 inches, and the height is 6.5. Okay, so now all we need to do is solve for D. And I think you guys can do the algebraic steps. And lastly, it's not always going to be volume or other things. We can apply it to angles. And again, you're going to kind of have to think critically about what your total might be. So with number 1 here, it says ABC is a right angle. That's really significant. I'm going to underline that. What is the degree measure of angle CBD? So we're trying to find this one right here. What is the angle measure? And also ABD. So that would be this one right here. Okay, so we're trying to find both of those angles, and we can use an equation to help us. So what do we know? What about ABC? Do we know the degrees of that? Well, we know ABC equals 90 degrees. So 90 degrees equals, now we can add both of these angles that we don't know. So we have, what is that, 2F plus 24. Sorry, it's a T. It's hard to see on the screen. 2T plus 24, and then the green angle is T. So we know, if I add both of those together, it's going to equal 90 degrees. So I can make an equation out of this. I can do 2T plus 24 plus T. Because I know both of these angles added up will equal 90 degrees. So now I want to identify my like terms. So I have 2T and I have positive T. So I'm going to say 90 degrees equals 3T plus 24. Then all I need to do is solve for T. And whatever T equals would be angle DBC. And then whatever T equals, I plug it into just this part of the equation, and I would find what the red angle is. Okay, so kind of think a little bit outside the box. Use things that you know. Really try to solve these problems. These problems are meant to take a little bit longer, and they are meant to be a little bit more challenging. So rise to the occasion, work hard, Ask for help if you need questions, and I will see you in real life.